All right, everyone, we got a great show for you guys today. It's going to be about the contract rallies, February the 22nd. We have different people on from different parts of the country to let us know what's going on in their area, what their plans are, some innovative things going on out there, and hopefully it'll give us an idea of what we can do to be successful in this round of contract negotiations, and everyone in our union wants that. All right, everyone, welcome to another edition of Mic Drop Mondays. Today is February the 15th, 2026, when we are recording this. And we want to talk today about the nationwide day of action, the rallies we're having around our national contract all over the country. And so we have various people on to discuss what their plans are, how it's going, what their, if any obstacles they're running into, that kind of thing. And so I will start by turning it over to Chris Persampieri, who is in branch 18 in Massachusetts, outside of Boston, and to give us a little background on where we got started here with this February 22nd day of action. And then as we call on people, they can introduce themselves kind of as we go along. That work for you, everyone? Okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, Chris.
All right.
Start it off,
awesome.
man.
Thank you, Brother Mike. So first off, I just want to say that I am very glad something is happening, right? I think we're all happy for that. I helped, I'm a co-host of another show called Next Generation Carriers Podcast, shameless plug. And I did publicly push Renfro for this date to happen because we needed to have a rally. Every rally needs to do this. Isn't this isn't going to be a Renfro rally. This is going to be a union rally. This is what it's going to be. And we need to start having these. So to give credit when credit's due, I'm glad President Renfro did actually call for this rally. But that being said, I just want to be a little bit realistic about how it happened. A 30-day rollout is going to limit what we can and can't do. For us in Boston, the ability to get a permit in the Boston Common, where we had our last year's rally, we can't do it because we need 30 days on the day. So we didn't have enough time to get rallies. We couldn't get with other unions. We couldn't talk to politicians. We couldn't get to the media because that all takes time, and time is something we didn't have this time around. What we're seeing on the 22nd, as far as I'm concerned, is more of a decentralized way of getting the word out and showing a bit of solidarity. And that matters. It really does, because it shows that a lot of letter carriers do want to get involved. But if we're serious about building leverage negotiations, especially when we're talking about money, we need sustained, coordinated pressure, not just a single day. And we also, as far as we in BFN, feel that we need to broaden this message that, yes, wages do matter.
Why don't you do a little introduction on the BFN, what that is, and what your role is with the BFN?
Sure. Yeah, so those of us in Bill Defining NALC, we came out around 3 years ago talking about we wanted open bargaining so we could know what we were trying to get. We also have a platform that includes things like a $30 minimum wage, an all-career workforce, and a Diet Colas, and other demands within our group. So we've had a coordinating committee doing some work throughout the time between the end of the national convention and now, but we've now been holding every 2 weeks. We've been holding general membership meetings so all people can participate. We've been getting anywhere from 30 to 50 people in our group, and we've been helping to push the February 22nd rally. So that's a short. I could go on for an hour.
$30. Just let me go back to that right quick. The $30 an hour starting pay, an end to the Diet Colas. I know an end to mandatory overtime is one of the things that the BFN has been pushing. And then there was another one, right?
The right to strike. That's one of them. And then also we're pushing that all elected officials receive a wage no higher than the top paid member of our union. That way, because if you're making
that.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we push. Because if we're getting some if union president is making $800,000 a year or something crazy.
Calm down, brother.
I didn't say NALC. I'm just saying
not that bad.
No, hey, right. 900,000 was going to go with, but But the idea is that Mike, I always say you're a good example because you go back and carry mail. You remember where you come from. When you start getting that high wage, when you don't carry mail anymore, you kind of start forgetting where you come from. And that's the problem. But I like, you taking a leadership role on being there, carrying mail, grounds you. And we need more leaders to do stuff like that. So that's something we definitely like seeing. So
as far as the contract, the three main ideas or demands or things that the BFN is pushing is the $30 an hour minimum paid, end to the Diet Cola, and an end to mandatory overtime.
I think the third one, those are the two, because we did that survey on our own with 2,000 people. And the third demand was, I think, the ending of a toxic workplace. Something about, it wasn't monetary. It was actually just people want to be left alone.
What about the 30 for 30?
The 30 for 30.
One carrier for every one supervisor for every
30. Now that ratio right now, roughly, for all of you who know what's going on, it's 1 to 6 right now. 15, 20 years. That's it. About 15, 20 years ago, that was 1 to 18, 20. 1 to 20. It was high.
20. Yeah, it's about 3 times that amount.
Right. That's where a lot of the waste is going. And one thing we talked about today at the general membership meeting of BFN was the fact of, it's $918 million that have been lost. We're including the 866 in the grievances, and then the other 52.8 million that we learned from the NERP of people they hire and they burn out within a year. So they're losing almost $1 billion over a period of 3 years. The mismanagement, the reason why the mismanagement comes from management. That's where a lot of the financial problems are coming from. And I think the problem is I don't see National really talking about that much. I wish they would push that a little bit more, that we're too top heavy and we're losing, and they're not just following the contract, that they're not doing it. So those are some of the big problems I think we're seeing. So that's it. So like I said, for me, February 22nd is not the starting point. It was the starting point, not the finish line. So we're getting there.
Okay, Chris, I'm going to come back to you because I know you're involved in the planning for the rally in the Boston area or in Boston. You're going to tell us how it's going on that. I want to go to Mr. Badmouth Morris, who is on because he was working at the regional office in Region 10 in Texas earlier this week. So he have an idea of some of the plans that are being coordinated throughout Texas, and he give us an update on that. And I want to let you guys know at this point that if you go to NALC.org, and I don't know if we can put it up on the screen, you can scroll through and look at all of the sites that are planning rallies. I know Texas has a ton of sites that are being planned, so that's great. And I'll let you introduce yourself and go from there. Mr. Morris, what branch are you in?
Badmouth Morris is the government name.
It is.
Branch 226, Johnathon Morris, but only my mother, the law, and the bank call me Johnathon, so please do not do that. That will stress me out. Branch 226, Fort Worth, Texas. Like you said, I think Brother Sean Boyd, I have been sort of sending emails and trying to get more involved in the union, and I think they were like, well, let's bring them up. So they brought me up because we're already working with the Texas Reform wing down here a lot. So they actually invited me up this last Monday to shoot an ad for Region 10, which was really cool because like Persampieri was saying, this is all very decentralized, right? And they're leaving it up to the branches. So it's kind of a way where we can, it was kind of like put out an ad in a promotional thing. And so I'm not working in any official capacity. I'm just sort of helping them out. There's
what kind of ad was this? Like an ad to be put out where? Like for the media or for?
Yeah, they put it on Region 10's YouTube page. They're trying to kick off a Region 10 specific YouTube page. So you can go on there and find it. It was basically just sort of a promo type cut where it's like, hey, all 295,000 members of the NALC are calling for a contract rally because we got negotiations coming up. You know what I mean? And then basically kind of gave the rundown, picked out some of the demands. I think I focused on in the ad. I focused on higher starting wage and all career workforce and a more harmonious work environment, and then sort of ran down the list of some of the branches in Texas, because like we've talked about and joked about, it's nice in Texas, so we're able to show out a little bit more. And you know, in a lot of these conversations, the South kind of gets forgotten when you have big union powerhouses like Chicago and Philly and Boston and New York and, you know, Seattle and stuff. So I've been sort of like helping rally, basically telling people like, this is Texas' chance to show up, right? It's going to be nice out while everyone else is fighting the cold. So this is our chance to show up. And a lot of people have responded really well to that. They're really excited to make a big showing, right? And Brother Boyd brought me up to the office. I was working with Tamara Twin, and she was helping. Like we worked on it all day. It was a good experience. It was nice to actually start getting paid by this union for doing organizing work for the union for the first time. I felt pretty special. It's just 3 years of me being loud.
I'm about to say, well, of all the hours you've put in and the one day that you were paid, I'm not sure if you're making minimum wage yet, but keep going, brother.
Probably not. This is my third meeting of the day, and usually I'm at 7 meetings on a Sunday. But so I've been kind of just trying to be my skills as an organizer is networking and cheerleading. I'm a Carney Barker. I'm a raconteur. I'm like, hey, this dope person over here, you need to talk to this dope person over here because you guys got shit going on. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do across Texas with the reform. We've had a reform caucus group chat down here for a long time. Like Ernest Gonzalez kicked it off. We got brother Ken's in there, Cesar Medina and Xavier. And like, so we've been talking about this stuff for a long time. So it was really easy for us to just be like, okay, Nationals leaving this all up to us. And like, oh, that's a lot to do, but we've already been doing this work anyway. So it was really easy for us to just start pooling sort of our knowledge and our skill sets. And like, that's we got like Xavier. I know he's got to go soon, so I kind of want to throw to him if we can.
Okay.
Shortly. He's helping organize down in Austin, and he's a young cat, and like the union, it's kind of cool. It is a bummer that it's kind of last minute, left all up to the branch, but that is giving the opportunity. Silver lining, that's giving the opportunity for younger organizers who are very motivated to do this stuff. If the branch doesn't really care about it, they can be like, you guys do this, right? And that's giving some opportunities for some of the organizers down here who've been looking for a chance, like, put me in, coach, put me in, right? Now they're getting a chance to get put in. And I think that is something this union sorely needs. So I'm really excited to see that happening down here in Texas.
All right, Xavier, I know you and a couple other people are there in Spring, Texas, which is near Houston, which is where they're having Region 10 training this weekend. But I appreciate you coming on, and if you could give us a little update on what your plans are, how it's going so far in Austin, Texas, and also introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, Xavier Gonzalez, Branch 181 in Austin. If the audio is a bit weird, I'm a bit sorry about that. The hotel Wi-Fi is being weird here. But
sounds
yeah,
great so far.
I'm over here in spring, Region 10 spring trainings being held here. But I guess to give an update on Austin, while Badmouth isn't wrong that, it's last minute, it's sort of, there's such a short turnaround time with this. I'm actually seeing it as an opportunity to potentially even organize Austin, just using this as like the organizing point to get people more involved in our union. This is like, for a lot of the people down in the branch here in Austin, this is probably their, baby's first collective action, just doing a contract rally. And, I want to try to build off of that momentum, like how Chris and Badmouth were like, hey, let's, do rolling rallies. I even went out of my own, with my own time, with the help of a carrier's fiance. We actually designed buttons, and we're doing button days leading up to the expiration of this contract, just to sort of start doing more than, what National's offering us. Because, I mean, while it's like they gave us nothing, the fact that they gave us nothing actually gave us so much more room to make this our own rally.
What kind of buttons you guys got?
It's just a small little button. It has a little small slogan. I think actually I have one right here. It's just our
I'm curious to see what it looks like. I know they did a button in Seattle. I thought was pretty cool. We can put that up on the screen too.
Ours just says better pay for an 8-hour day. Has our logo. It just says 2026 on it.
You got a rhyme, so you're halfway there, right there.
Yeah, and I mean it's such a small action, just hey, even if you don't want to show up to the rally, at least wear a button Thursday, show management like our collective power. And I'm hoping because there's only one more Thursday coming up to this rally, but just maybe if people see their coworkers in their office, doing this small action, it might even sway them to think, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to show up to this rally this Sunday.
So is that something that the branch purchased buttons for all the members, something like that?
Well, I actually went ahead and purchased it out of my own pocket.
Check you out, man. All right.
Yeah. we didn't have enough time. The branch meeting's actually this Thursday. So
we get someone to make a motion. We can reach
I'm
on that. Hopefully
eventually this will get reimbursed. But I went ahead. I was
talk to Moody about that.
If I don't even get the money back, honestly, I'm fine with that because I just wanted to try to put more effort in than what National kind of gave us.
So what do you know? Because I don't know. I know you're not the branch president, and I don't know where the supplies go to. But do you know what they sent out from NELC headquarters?
Yeah. So far, it's just been a banner and
big fight like hell banner, right? I've seen
that. Supposedly, we're getting shirts, but they haven't arrived at our branch yet, and we're not sure if they'll make it in time.
Okay. No flyer to hand out to while you're out there, kind of thing.
No, and I mean, we were thinking of just making our own and doing little leaflets at the. We're going to do it at a post office that's like right off a busy intersection here in Austin. We're thinking of maybe that's how we're going to get the word out. We already have some of the media coming. We do have some local politicians that some are a lock. Some of them we're still seeing if we're going to get them, but we're hoping we're going to get some pretty good turnout and some pretty good coverage.
All right. Awesome. I know you might have to go at some point, but if you can hang around, we might talk some more. I want to go to Dustin. He's up there in the top right corner of my screen. I don't know what it looks like for everyone else, but let him introduce himself and then give us an idea of what's going on where he's at.
My name is Dustin Saville. I'm the president of Air Capital, Branch 201 here in Wichita, Kansas. We're going to have our rally there Sunday at noon here in Wichita. I think the temperature keeps slowly dropping on the forecast. Scares me a little bit, but it should be about 45 and sunny at least.
Perfect.
The last time we went out, we just picked a busy intersection here in town, and we'll do the same thing this year. Fortunately, there's a Chick-fil-A right there, so there's plenty of parking as they're not open on Sunday. And
I was about to say that's not going to help you with any walk-up traffic.
No, but plenty of places to park, and then just people driving around. We can kind of surround the intersection to hit people driving through on all corners. It's one of the busier intersections in town. We hopefully the goal, really, one of my goals is to promote that solidarity amongst the members. I know when the clerks had their last contract, or just about any time, I get it. They're inside. They can wear shirts, talk about their upcoming contract or the APWU shirts, and we can't really wear that out on the street. So it's a chance to bring our members together, just kind of unify them over this contract. The last time we were kind of sold some promises and what we thought we were getting, and it didn't come through. This is a chance that, get the members more involved, and maybe hopefully National can hear us and what we're looking for. And, we don't have a 2-year wait or whatever it was to get that support or to get that contract, hopefully, that we deserve. We have thought about flyers, and the buttons have kind of came up before, but we don't have buttons, but we can certainly print out some flyers to be able to hand out to people if they're interested in what we're going for.
What do you think we should say in the flyers? I'm curious what everyone thinks. Because the flyers would be for the public, right? And that's kind of where,
yeah.
What do we say to the public,
almost, real similar to the last one, just kind of what we do, how many, we are out there 6 days a week, or technically 7 if you include the Sundays and the parcel delivery. But, we deliver to everybody. Kind of, you could include some of the safety or not safety, the political
dangers.
Bills or support.
Well, you could include some of the dangers of the job to kind of talk about,
Just-
why we need a raise.
A little bit of a job description on what we do. And, we're out there on the street now 6-7 hours a day, all sorts of weather, daylight and nighttime, more and more with times being pushed back. Just the demands of the job are a little bit more. And, we aren't funded by taxpayers. We're funded by the postage. We can also, generally the public does support us in our mission. And that's a positive. It's just chance to even just bring that support behind us, even though they won't be the ones that decide our contract. Just creates good feelings in the community, and hopefully that just spreads.
Were you guys able to reach out to any other unions or any other community groups to come out, or?
I have reached out to the other local postal unions. We do have some local sales tax initiatives and some other, obviously there's some other national things going on, so we're trying to kind of steer clear of that. We want to just keep it postal related. So we haven't reached out to the other, maybe political groups or some of those other groups. We have gotten in touch, or hopefully they did get in touch with our local labor federation, and we did just get our shirts here in the last week, maybe it was a week and a half ago, and our signs came in. So certainly we'll hand out those to anyone that shows up, whether they're a letter carrier or not. Well, hey, wear a shirt and support us, for our contract, for our rally. We won't care.
We were a little worried that we would need really big shirts. Like if it was going to be really cold out there, you'd wear your parkas and stuff. But it looks like the weather is going to pretty much cooperate on that front.
Yeah, hey, long sleeve shirts or hoodies would have been nice, but I get it. They're on a little bit of a time crunch. I don't quite understand why. Maybe a little bit more of a heads up couldn't have been given that this was coming, because it did seem kind of last minute.
Very.
And hey, maybe come May they can do something again as the contract comes to an end, and then we can also put out, hey, food drive signs, next weekend, to help out with the food drive. But yeah. We'll be ready to go next Sunday. Hopefully, at least sunny, even if it is cold. Wichita will be ready.
You got your chants ready and all that?
I haven't thought of any chants. I know we have some other members that like to scour social media, so hopefully they can come up with some good ideas and things. I've told them they can certainly make their own signs. We have some general signs that we have made. Protect our letter carriers and honk if you love your letter carrier type things. But
I love that one.
We're certainly open for some ideas for some chants and things.
Awesome. Well, good luck out there. What time is you guys rally?
We'll be out there at noon, and then probably stay depending on how long the weather is. I figure at least an hour. Hey, if there's a good crowd, nothing wrong with staying a little bit longer.
All right. That's in Wichita, Kansas, everyone. Get there.
Correct. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you. All right, Chris, give us an idea of how it's going in Boston and some of the other sites in Massachusetts, if you are aware.
Yeah. So one thing I think to keep in mind too is, and talk about what Brother Dustin was saying too about had we had more time, because we have a lot of standouts. Standouts aren't rallies. These are two different things. Standout is usually a smaller group of people holding a banner, no speeches, no politicians. And that's good to have visibility. But the problem is, I think with some of our ones we're having in Massachusetts, they're just going to be standouts because you might get, these are smaller locals, might be doing ones.
What's a rally? What's the difference between that and a rally?
So the standout will just be, so a rally is having, you got your speakers, you got everything lined up, you got a PA system, you got when we did the Boston rally, we had local news, we had newspapers, Congressman Stephen Lynch, the guy that HR 70 in Congress, that he's the sponsor of that. We had the teachers union, APWU, all these unions, mail handlers came out. that was a rally. We had a great, because we had like 2.5, like we had better time to plan it. And it, like I said, I think that free reign helped us out, because we talked to, it was a Tom Rooney, the president of Branch 34, and Rick DeCecca of the NBA. We kind of told them what we wanted to do for the fight, like the initial one. And they just said, okay, you have at it. But this time around, since it was such a short notice, it's just been kind of scattered. So the best we could kind of cobble together is, I think Branch 34 is obviously, that's Boston. That's the biggest one around here. So they're going to have a rally outside of South Station, because they couldn't pull a permit for the one in the Boston Common World. It's right by the State House. It's the prime spot if you're going to have a rally, but we didn't have time for that. So the South Station is near a big mail handling plant, the GMF in Boston. So Boston's going to have theirs on the 22nd at noon. The one, my Branch 18, we're doing a standout. I don't think anything major has been planned. It's going to be in Brockton, Massachusetts, another big city here. So I'll be there at 10. So after 10, I'm going to go down to Boston right after to do the one at noon. And then obviously my friends and my co-host, James Capone at Branch 764, they're having theirs in Dedham. They might actually combine all theirs to go to Branch 334 with President Capone, President Samolak over there in Framingham, Massachusetts. So more people, the better. I think members want to go out and see a lot of people. It feels good to do it. So hopefully they'll have a good rally over there. But so that's why we like the rolling rallies. If we have one at the end of April, early May, we're going to have a lot more time to plan this. Because originally what we were envisioning was like organizing buses from all over the state, getting people from Providence, Rhode Island, getting people from Maine, all of New England converge on one big area in Boston. And then you have all your politicians come out and supporting us. Branch 25, they're having someone running for office too. So a few politicians are going. But then the bad PS to one of the rallies, I won't name the local, but they canceled theirs. 8 people were only going to show up for a pretty big local. And
I've heard a lot of places that it might be on the website and they just end up canceling them because they're not getting a whole lot of interest. And that, we can talk about it and maybe everyone has an opinion on it, but it's obviously related to not having enough time to prepare. It's related to it being in the middle of the winter, and it's related to the results we got last time, where people don't feel like, as far as the contract, that their voice and their activism plays any role. And I'll say this as well. It has been unclear. The one thing that we are, I think, pretty clear about is the mobilization of the members. Bring people out. It makes people feel good, like they're involved in that. But how are we, by standing out on some street corner in some city, going to have an impact on the national contract negotiations that are going to be between United States Postal Service and the NALC in Washington, D.C. between February 25th and March 22nd? You know what I mean? Like, it's not really clear how us going out there has an impact. For example, we don't really have messaging. I haven't seen a lot of messaging that we're putting out to the general public. Because I think someone said it, we want the public to help us to put pressure on the Postal Service to actually actively engage in contract negotiations and to try to get to a point where the Postal Service is cognizant of the deep hole that we're in, and we have to do something different, at least, get to that starting point. If you don't recognize that there's a problem, you're never going to get to the solution. So me personally, I'm very pessimistic about these 90 days. Per the law, you get 90 days to negotiate a new contract, and I just don't see the Postal Service really making a bona fide effort, and I don't see us doing anything to try to change that and force them or put pressure on them or get leverage in this process. And that's demoralizing, and if you feel that way, it's going to be hard to mobilize people to come out. But definitely do want people to come out. Doing nothing has never solved anything. That's never worked. So you gotta start somewhere and do something. But and we can regroup after that and go from there. So Badmouth, I'll go to you. I know you guys are doing some interesting things, some different things out there. When I was in Arlington a couple weeks ago, outside of Dallas, in the Dallas area, they were talking about in that branch and a couple other branches some different things that they wanted to do. So you can let us know about that, how you guys are doing those rallies a little bit differently, and also your opinions on any of the topics we've brought up so far.
Yeah. So organizing in the South, we're playing on hard mode. And just to recap, kind of like the people being disappointed and stuff like that. One of the things, organizing for a long time and a lot of lost causes and all that. One of the things you learn is even if you lose, you still can gain some ground. And like having these rallies and getting some of that visibility, what does that do for us right now? Well, if you're inviting other community organizers out to these rallies, you're making those connections. May Day is coming up right around the corner. You're going to be talking to people in your community. They're going to be putting things on. I'm trying not to swear. Sorry. Putting things on for May Day.
You're doing a great job so far. Great job.
Dude, no, I know. It's so much pressure. I just need to say one just so I can get the, yeah. But like you're going to have people coming out to these rallies who are also going to be organizing different stuff around the city. So then you'd be like, hey, our branch wants to join you guys in your May Day parade. And then you have that. And then we are in the thing about being a mailman. And the reason why I got this damn job. There we go. I got my swear out of the way. All right. We're fine now. Okay.
It's pretty mild.
The reason I got this job is it is Mr. Rogers. It's Mr. Rogers, man. Like we are the community. We aren't just serving the community. We are the community, right? We deliver to every damn mailbox. Every person who gets mail in this country is our customers. We are the community. That's such a beautiful thing, but the community has no idea what we go through because we don't talk to them about that. And this type of stuff, it might be a little small thing, but you get enough of the community members out there, you make your connections and you support them in that. We do the food drive and that's great. That's brilliant. I hope I get to work on, we can do a big thing to do for that as well. But like, other than that, we aren't as involved in the community. Why like helping feed people at a soup kitchen once a quarter as a branch, that type of stuff. We don't got to do ads. Ain't no one watching TV. We all stream nonsense on Netflix, right? So it's something where like being in the community and reminding the community that we are the community. That's kind of the thing here. What does this do for us right now in this contract? Like that's almost a secondary thing, I think, to this as us getting out into the community and stuff. I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
I know I'm kind of crazy.
It gives you an idea of what we can accomplish, no matter how many people come out, and just the fact that we're out there and is visible and building relationships. Yeah.
And then also, this is, if you're new to organizing and stuff, like we just talked to Xavier Gonzalez, young cat out of Austin, like he's getting into this stuff, and and when the food drive comes around, the relationships he's building and putting this stuff together, you never put your tools away, but you set them down next to your work boots, and then you pick them right back up when the food drive comes, right? All the networking and all that stuff we're building right now to do these rallies. That's infrastructure that we can do for the next thing that comes around, right? And so I don't want, like, I know it's discouraging if you only got 5 or 10 of us, mouth breathing knuckle draggers out here in the streets showing up at these rallies, but like putting in that stuff, getting that infrastructure in place is really important. And I just want to say that because like that's my thing as a cheerleader, when I don't like people getting down in the dumps, because we are working. This is an uphill battle. But like getting all worked up about it. But yeah,
what are you guys doing out there? I heard you were buying food for everybody. That's what I heard. The whole state of Texas.
Yeah, like Xavier.
That's what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
In Texas, it's ribeyes. It's they don't mess around.
We're getting beef from Costco. I just got done living in a tent. I can't afford ribeyes yet. Like Xavier, he got those buttons made, right? And that was a personal expense. Going to try and get it back from the branch. Just the way these kind of also rolled out. You had a lot of branches that are otherwise uninterested in it, right? It's like a lot of things in our union. The NERC program, or like toxic work floor or workroom type grievances and stuff. Like if the local leadership isn't really interested in it, it kind of just dies on the vine, right? And that's kind of a bummer. And these rallies are a good example of that as well. Like there's going to be in Fort Worth, not doing nothing. Like it's because the deadline to sign up was before our branch meeting, so they just didn't do it, right? But Arlington, Cesar Medina, he was on earlier. I was hoping one of the Arlington cats could plug theirs because I'm helping them. It's their show. I'm just there to help. And they invited me to their branch meeting, and we talked about. So again, this is Texas. If you're got a picket sign and you're marching around in circles, everyone just automatically brands you as some commie pinko, whatever, right? It's not friendly down here to that sort of stuff, right? So like that sort of like stigma, because this is not a labor friendly state. This is right to work state.
Hey, except for the letter carrier transcends everything, man.
Exactly. So using that, I was like, why don't we just do a cookout, right? And I was like, and like I just crunched some math real quick, looking at Costco's website. I can do burger and fixins for 80 people for $150. I was like, I'll pay for it, and that was just to get the ball rolling. They're gonna do what they're gonna pay me back. We've already talked that out, but that was just me bringing that up because sometimes you got to put skin in the game right away. And like I wanted something because like Kamitra Lewis in Dallas, they're doing a big to do. They got all that. Arlington is a small branch, but it's a very, very energetic and motivated branch. And they were really excited for the chance to sort of show up for this, right?
Yeah,
so
then you got the branch in Irving, you got the branch in Fort Worth, your branch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can draw other people in as well,
yeah.
maybe.
And yeah, they passed a motion to invite any branch that wasn't holding a rally to theirs. And that's sort of their chance as a smaller branch to sort of be, make a splash. And like people are excited about that. And like so and like I'm helping them just like make connections and stuff like that. And like one of the things they're talked about doing is like kids earlier in the day having sort of an art thing where all the kids get to make their own signs. Kids love that stuff, right? Kids love being able to make their own sign with art, march around with that. Then you can have the kid put whatever messaging, because I know some of the national
my mommy needs a pay raise.
Yeah.
My mommy says she needs more money.
Yeah. No,
my mom talks about 1970. My mom needs a 1970s solution. I don't know.
Whatever that is.
I don't know what those kids are talking about. I don't know.
No, and also just because of like the any sort of protest and stuff like that is like pretty frowned on down here. It makes it more accessible to everyone who they're like, oh, I don't know if I'd ever show up to a protest type. Well, it's a family cookout now, bro. Come turn out, grab a burger, make a sign with your kids, and like we'll invite politicians and whatever, and then like also talking with the AFL-CIO. I've talked to the IWW, Food Not Bombs, the socialists, the Democrats, some Democrats and some Republicans even. Like basically just show up, grab a burger, and meet your mailman, and we can talk about this stuff, right? That way, it's a non-threatening and right-to-work state. It's very accessible to everybody, and the cats in Arlington are putting in a lot of work, and I'm really excited to be able to help them with that.
That is awesome. All right, we got one guy that's on. We haven't called in yet, but Ken, if you want to introduce yourself, I know you're in Corpus Christi. I think that's right. And tell us what you guys are up to. Are you in like a restaurant or something?
Yes, Ken, branch 459, Corpus Christi, Texas. Yeah, we're going to try to get this moving, not without its hiccups. I was recently elected in a contested election, so I'm having to draw out getting feedback from my local. So I have to go around to get the information packets like you send to the media. It's gonna be interesting. Hopefully we could make a good show of it. I did bring it to the branch and we voted to have it, so
Okay.
I'm glad that's gonna happen.
Put Corpus on the map. All right, man. We're gonna come back to you, man. Your audio is rough over there, but
Sorry, yeah, I'm in a bar. Well,
I
not
got you.
really a bar, but kind of it's a food place.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and giving us the information. And like, if you have anything else you want to jump in, just raise your hand or whatever. We'll go back to you.
Uh,
Thanks, brother. Chris, you had something, or you were just making
Yeah.
hand motion?
No, I'm just excited. I like Corpus Christi. That sounds like a fun place, man. All right. So one thing that came up, I'm kind of piggybacking on Badmouth's point here. You know, and I know, Mike, you and I have talked about this off air about how our union struggles with internal organizing, right? This is a problem I think our union has, because we have like these incredible members, super motivated, super ready to go, you know, but they usually don't have the infrastructure there. And this is a question for you, Mike. You know, if you, let's just say you were in a position of leadership, I don't know, say whatever happens
like
here,
the president or whatever, one of those.
whatever.
I
I just said leadership bag. All right,
Right.
whatever. Would you, and this is something, would you support professionalizing that effort? Like, for example, maybe having one internal organizer in each of the regions as a full-time job, because Badmouth is one example. I mean, Badmouth had what, 2 days? And now like there's 17 rallies going on. That was 2 days. Like I mean, you know,
What could he do with a full-time job?
Can you imagine? We'd have the revolution by now, you know? My God, they'd be screaming at us to stop organizing.
I'm not taking credit for all that shit. That was
Humble.
We've
That's
done
what
a
we
lot.
need.
We've done a lot of work down here. That's what I was saying with the like, even if it's small and it's whatever, don't get discouraged, because you got to start that ball rolling. Shit snowballs, and we've been working down here in Texas. Ernest Gonzalez kicked this shit off. Pardon my language. I'm swearing again. Ernest Gonzalez kicked these things off like 2-3 years ago, and like the balls just kept rolling. We have some of the same old cast. We're bringing in some new cats all the time, and like that way, it's able to, again, like the analogy of you set your tools down next to your boots at the end of the day, and then the next day starts and you pick your tools right back up. You never have to go out buying new tools again. Sorry. That's what I'm on a soapbox all the time. Sorry.
So to answer that question, I think that and I talked a little bit with a Badmouth about this earlier this week, because he was working out of the regional office and he was asking, like, you know, do we have people that do these kind of things out of the regional office? And my opinion has always been structure-wise within the union. And of course, if I were the president, I would operate much more collaboratively, meaning we would be having these discussions and trying to figure out the best way to do it. So I'm not going to say today I know the best way to do it, but I can give you an idea of what's going on in my head. In my head, we have 15 regional offices around the country, and those regional offices should have all of the people that they need to perform all of the jobs that we want to perform as a union. So obviously that includes grievances and going to arbitration and training and some of that thing, but it also includes organizing in a lot of different ways. You have organizing in as far as signing people up for the union. You have organizing as far as mobilizing the members and doing things like we're doing now as far as rallies and stuff like that. Mobilizing the members to be active politically. When we have a particular political race in a certain part of that state or that region that we're heavily involved in for whatever, you know, we're either supporting one person or we want to get another person out, or, you know, whatever, right? And then the other thing that I always throw out there is that at what point are we going to try to organize the other delivery drivers out there, like the Amazon delivery drivers and some of these other companies? You know, we do a really good job organizing letter carriers. Maybe we could do a good job organizing people outside of the postal service as well, and that would benefit everybody, you know. So
we link up with the Teamsters, boom, wow. So you know, that's the idea. We work together on that because they got the resources. UFCW does warehouse workers, but it should be, and I think you're saying, a collaborative effort amongst all unions, right? Like that's the whole thing. We need to start working together because the non-union competition will destroy it. They're going to be dragging down our wages the whole time. Because
they already are. They already are. Remember when they called it Amazon Sundays? You know, and like, and that thing, that Amazon Sunday was the definition of low wage, throwaway type employee, you know, that the whole CCA classification was based on. And so
3.5 years of delivering it. I remember it. Yeah, I
know all about it.
Yes, I do. Yeah, that was it. You're going to watch the football game at 1? No, you're not. You're going to be out delivering. You know, that's oh my God, a lot of us didn't make it after that. Back when that was you could be a CCA forever back when I was hired. So, that was it. I lost 3.5 years. No, I wasn't a PTF, just CCA time, straight up.
Yep.
So
Yeah, some people were like 5 years as a
I know.
CPA.
I worked with one, and that was insane. I know. I don't know why
Especially
they
people
started
that changed offices, if you wanted to
Yep.
get like closer to home or something and changed offices and then the time starts all over again and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it's a mess. But Dustin, you have any thoughts on any of this we're talking about here?
Yeah, just, as far as, now where was I going with that? I had a note down and then I don't remember what it was. Just getting the other unions involved.
Did you say
not
you wrote it
necessarily-
down and you still don't know what it is?
Well, I had something similar and then I changed it and I didn't edit it. But
Because sometimes I can't read my own handwriting as well, so that does happen to me too. But I didn't think it happened to anybody else.
I'd say getting those other unions involved, I think, is important. Just bringing together the members with the solidarity. The last time, the last contract we had, social media comments were turned off for a long time. They didn't want to see it after that negotiation came out. I don't think that was a real great look. I certainly understand why everybody was upset and maybe why National might turn them off. But again, just try and bring the members back together. We're all fighting for the same goal. The organizing, getting the other unions involved, whether just postal unions, but like our local labor federation. Just there's a big aerospace industry here in town, so there's a lot of machinists and people like that, and we're all in the fight together to raise wages, increase health benefits and everything, just improve our way of life. It's ultimately we're all on the same team, even if we're different unions, and I think that's important, that getting that message out that unions aren't bad, especially whether you're in the deep red state of Texas or deep red Kansas, where unions aren't always have the best name, but hey, we're out there fighting for our neighbors and our coworkers and our fellow brothers and sisters. I think that's important.
How do we as members of this union, and everyone has kind of different roles, like, you're the president, you're the branch, I'm the national business agent, everyone has different whatever, right? How do we use that? How do we use our positions within the union to get a different result this time than we got last time? I'm not so sure, like, what are we supposed to be doing here? Because I don't know. Going back to what I was saying earlier, I'm very frustrated. And I think a lot of our members feel this way, whether they express it or not. They feel that, hey, if we didn't make the advancements that we wanted to make in the 2023 negotiations, what do we got to look forward to in the 2026 negotiations? I don't know. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, my take really is that, participate. Please come to these rallies. I know that. I get it. I get the cynicism. I know, like, I was so elated when we rejected that TA. I mean, the first time in 50 years, 71%, I was over the moon because I thought this was just a straight up concession. And then we have that arbitration situation, or however you want to call it. That's what some people have called it. Other people would not, but I'm not, but moving, how that, and then people said to me, I remember the disappointment. He goes, you told us to vote and things would change. We did. And look what happened. And I get it. I get that frustration. All right. And some people think that, I got some flack because it's like, oh, you're holding water for the incumbent president. Because, like I said, this should be a union tradition, not a president.
But what are the things? What are the things we can do? And I didn't mean to cut you off. I just we know the situation we're in. Like, we got that.
Right.
But what can we do? And I don't know if maybe one of the ideas about it's talking about rolling rallies or having something big toward the end, because you got this 90-day period that ends May 22nd, and maybe something closer to May 22nd. Like, what do you guys think would have a serious impact? I know one thing would have a big impact is if you got the general public involved and on our side, but it's not easy to do. And there's pros and cons to it, I think, as well. But But I don't know. Badmouth?
Yeah, like you and I had a conversation. Persampieri just brought it up about like what a regional position that does community organizing. You start with the food drive or something like this, and you just keep it going. Like I got to visit, see kind of how the sausage was made at the NBA's office, and I was working with Sister Twin, who she's dope by the way, but she's an RA. She's working on grievances and shit all day, while we're also trying to do some stuff for this, right? Like having a dedicated position for someone to do that stuff would take overworked RAs don't have to be doing that as much, right?
But how does that affect the contract negotiations? I'm looking at something specifically that's going to move us forward and get us a better contract.
Well, yeah, that's I just want to echo that as I talk about rolling rallies. So I like the idea of rolling rallies. Like down here, it's going to be beautiful in Texas. It's going to be grilling weather. So to get people out to a barbecue on a Sunday in February, nice, dope, cool, free food. All right, let's show up, right? And then and keeping those relationships to where we can throw another barbecue in a month when right before the arbitration or whatever stage we're in, right? And then that momentum can keep, because momentum builds. The worst thing in the world for any sort of organizer, any sort of movement, is letting momentum stall. You need to keep it moving in one direction or another, move and course correct, right? So with the rolling rallies, we can start moving in a direction, course correct as we move, and by the time May Day rolls around, all the folk up north, they're going to be outside in like dying to get outside and enjoy the spring, right? So if we get the momentum started down here where it's warmer, and then everyone's trying up north too, we do rolling rallies once a month. Do something. Do a cookout at a park. You can get a park permit for $50 that's got grills right there, and just have a cookout with your cats, right? And that keeps us in the news. It keeps us in people's mind, especially if this goes to arbitration. You start doing informational pickets. You've already built those relationships doing these little rallies and stuff like that. Then you can start telling them like, hey, this is what this OJI report says. This is whatever. You can have those things where you can talk about the stuff that they might not necessarily want you to have at a Fight Like Hell rally, but you've already built those relationships to where you could just on a conversational level can start talking.
But how does that affect the negotiations? I think what you're trying to say is getting more people involved.
Yeah.
Puts a spotlight on our issues.
Yes.
But then how does that?
Yeah, the arbiter is going to be watching TV. And if we built up this momentum and people are starting to get pissed about this, it's going to be on TV. They're going to see this stuff of what the letter carrier is asking for. That's all I'm saying is building up momentum for when it goes to arbitration, because I think that's part of the problem. In the last one, we got that stipulator award or whatever. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm rambling on.
Yeah,
Dustin, go ahead, and then I'll go to you, Chris.
All right, yeah. I think as far as affecting negotiations and stuff, that starts at the top with the president, and he needs to, the perception last time was he just kind of did it on his own, and there wasn't a lot of information released, and he walked in there and did what he thought was best. I don't know how much how much did he really lean on his executive board and the business agents for that information?
None, I can tell you that.
So certainly the rallies are a small step. They're all around the country. Maybe those rank and file committees was a small step in the right direction. They can feed those different negotiating committees covering the different parts of the contract, information from the floor, from the members. They can feed that all back to the president, when he goes in, at least at that main table negotiating. But, you got to have a guy in there that's not just doing it all on its own. You got to also lean on the other people. I know I get I'm president, not of the national, but I lean on my executive board and the members and stewards, because I don't remember everything when I'm in there. And maybe there's something real important that the members, have that they've fed to a business agent, that as they're updating, the executive board, what's going on, they can remind, hey, don't forget about this or that, or, this may be more important. So that's, if you want to affect national negotiations, it really starts at the top and taking that input from the board, from the business agents, even the branch presidents, as far as, the branch presidents meetings and all that. He has to do a better job of taking in that information and realizing he may be the president, but he doesn't have all the answers either.
So part of what you guys are doing at your rallies on February 22nd, and I think this is something that carriers are interested around the country, is putting on a sign or whatever, saying what it is that we want out of a contract, because we want our president to know, here's the things that are important to this group of letter carriers, or maybe just to me as a letter carrier or whatever, that will have some impact on how the president conducts the negotiations. Yeah, I can see that. Chris?
Yeah. I mean, and to kind of piggyback on what Al's been saying too, I mean, this is a starting spark, not the bonfire, right? We're at phase one. We were a union that, went out illegally on 1970 to have a strike. Then we almost did one in 78. Then we threatened one in 82. There was always a threat of action. For the record, I'm not calling for a strike. Okay, in case anyone asks.
1999, there was, I was a part of that. There was rallies at every post office in America, damn near.
Right. So hitting the streets is crucial to any union. That's it. We won that arbitration decision, and we didn't go on strike, did we?
Well, especially a public union, for sure.
Right. No, right. So one thing that has to be considered, and this is how the rules work, the arbitrator, has to consider management, the union, and then also they have to consider the public. That is a part thing. And if they do see what Badmouth is saying, if they do see that there's been all these big rallies all the time going on, that has to be considered when they make the ruling. That's what they do consider. But what I was trying to get through to President Renfro, and I'll be talking to him about this again, is that we need big, giant rallies. That was the whole point. These small, decentralized ones were not what we needed. We needed one giant one in Boston, one in DC. Like, these are the things we need to get a lot of attention. We need to mobilize people, and maybe a 1.3 mile march.
Hey.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
My man.
I think
what are we doing that?
Idea. We could do one on Memorial Day.
1.3 miles from NELC headquarters to USPS headquarters. I'll keep throwing that out there. It's just
it's a good idea.
It's a beautiful thing.
Right. And we can do it on Memorial Day. I'm just saying it's near that's too far. Well,
no, it's just past it. But
yeah. So we'll find some time. But the idea is that should have been planned. In the rap session, this could have been announced, and it wasn't. So I'm not here to piggyback on the problem.
Hey, Chris, if you go on the NELC website, I was looking at it earlier where all the rallies are at. There's 2 rallies in the city of Detroit, for example.
Oh.
And, to your point of trying to have big rallies instead of each branch organizing their own rally,
maybe a phone call.
How did that happen?
I love seeing Detroit show up. Hell yes, Motor City, baby.
They're showing up twice. They're on 2 sides of town or whatever.
Right. Because what UPS did, now I heard it, they were always doing pickets. It was always in the news. People were asking me, what's going on? That's how you have to do it. You need big rallies, attract politicians, and they attract the media. That's what gets people talking. Small little rallies. They're quaint.
They had a list of demands too. Everyone, glosses over that, but the transparency of the way that they ran their negotiations in 2023 versus the way we ran them.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
they
knew what they were
stated
for.
very specifically what they needed to prevent them from going out on strike. And in our case, we would say the same thing. We would just say this is going to prevent us from taking our case in front of an arbitration panel. But we should do the same thing. Here are the things that we need,
Right. Get the members involved, because I know what Sean O'Brien would say. We're trying to end their version of the CCAs. I knew their demand. I didn't work there, and I knew all of their demands. It was transparent. My wife was in SAG-AFTRA. The president was telling them all the time, this is where we stand. They would constantly update. We, for 700 days, had no clue what was going on, what was being negotiated. So when you keep the membership in the dark, then that's the whole thing. So we need more open leadership that tells us, hey, this is what we're fighting for. This is where we're standing. That gets people motivated to hit the streets, because once they feel included, there's buy-in. And that's what our union needs to start doing. So that's just, there you go. I'll get off my soapbox. But
hey, Chris, why don't you let everyone know, because this will drop tomorrow, on Monday. and that's the 16th of February. And you guys are going to have the president on your show on the 18th, correct?
Yes, we are. So if you're tuning in here, so on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have President Renfro on. He did say I said, if you do this rally, would you come back on? And he said he would. So he's keeping up as another bargain. This is an opportunity for you if you got questions. I'm not tone policing it, but questions, not just how much you don't like him from whatever he did. We just really
do people
really
submit
need to
questions in advance, or do they log on?
Typically, some people have been emailing us because this could go on for 4 hours. We've had 3-hour meetings. He'll go on for a long time, but it's easier for us if you can email him out. We do ask, we'll go to the audience too. We'll probably limit everyone to 2 minutes most, because some people have a lot of things to say. But if you have any comments, questions, log on Next Generation Carriers Podcast. You can register there. And like I said, you got a question, ask them, whatever it is. Just a question, not any threats of violence, please. All right. I have to say that out loud because some people, I get the anger, just calm down. But yes, so please check us out on Wednesday, the 18th. Bring a question, hear us out, and see what's going on. So this is your opportunity.
All right. Awesome. Sarah, do you have anything? I know you guys your branch A25 is doing a rally in, you guys are up in Schaumburg, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're doing it with the 2076 and 2810.
A couple other branches up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You excited? I mean, what's the feeling? Are you going? Let's start there.
I'm going.
I like the long pause is a good sign.
I'm going to Chicago's rally.
You want to Chicago? We're doing ours at our Union Hall.
Yeah.
Which we figured in the middle of winter, wouldn't it be good to have a place that has a bathroom, and if it's too cold, you can go inside? And I thought that was a pretty good idea by our president, Elise Foster. She said, let's just do it at the Union Hall, either inside or outside. But yeah. So you're going to that one? Okay, I got you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. It's closer than Schaumburg for me.
Right. Yeah. And that's, that's the, once again, I'll tell everyone that's listening, if you go to NALC.org and look up the tab for the February 26th, 22nd rallies, you can see where all of the rallies are going to be taking place. And you just go to the one that's closest to you or whichever one you want to go to. Well, let's get out there. Let's get out there in these streets. I mean, it's an opening start, and contract negotiations will begin February the 25th. So this Sunday we'll have the rallies, and then the following Wednesday we begin contract negotiations with the Postal Service.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have any final comments before we get up out of here?
All right. Keep up the fight. Keep up the struggle, and let's go win this decent contract.
And if you just have a small little group going, that's the whole phrase of shit snowballs. It starts with that small little bit. Mountains moved, small stones and shit at a time. And organizing is also a muscle. It's like going to the gym. You don't just go once and then try it again next year. That's why rolling rallies are a good idea. Just saying. But yeah, all right. I'm off my soapbox. Love you guys. Solidarity forever.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate everyone for coming on. Thank you, guys. Be safe out there.